Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time is appropriate whenever you get to watch this video. So my name is Combatantmaggie, and on this channel I film about our family sojourn here in Germany, a bit about faith and family. So if this is something that resonates with you, why don't you consider subscribing right here and hit that notification bell to stay connected whenever I upload a new content. So on today's video, you already know what we're going to be talking about, right? My culture shock since I've been in Germany, my aha moment, the times where I've been yes. If you are ready to watch this video, then sit back and relax, and I'll be right back. Now let's go right into this video. I will be reading from my phone, so don't be surprised when I look down. Okay, so the first thing on my list is the fact that children call adults by their name, first names I mean. Yes, that was a bit tricky for me once I moved to Germany, because in my culture back home in Nigeria, it's very typical or very common to hear children call anyone that is older than them auntie, uncle, or sister at least, or brother, or that's the prefix before their names that you'd hear children call adults or older people. And even if you're not related by blood or whatever kind of relationship, you're expected to call people like that just out of respect. And I think in other cultures as well, people do that, but not in Germany. This could probably be the case earlier in Germany, but right now, no. Children call older people by their names, even in the kindergarten. I found it a little bit inappropriate for me when we came in. Maybe not inappropriate, but I found it a bit off, because my children come back home and they say my caregiver's name is Mike. I'm like, there's no miss or miss. In Germany you refer to a married woman or a single woman by Frau, and then Frau comes before the formal the surname, so it's like a formal setting where you say Frau so and so. But I understand that a part of Germany, because in Germany it's an autonomous government that's being run here, so for each state they have their own way of running. The systems might not be the same, so I understand that in some states in Germany, children refer to their caregivers or teachers formally. So in my city, in the Berlin-Brandenburg area, in the kindergarten, children will refer to their caregivers by their first names. But in the school, the primary school, they would refer formally, Frau, then the surname, or Herr, then the surname. Based on my experience with my own children, that's what I have seen. And I find it quite surprising. Once a friend of mine asked her daughter to ask Margaret about something, like, are you kidding me? Like, she called me by my name. It was a bit I didn't have a problem, but I can't speak to my children when I talk about somebody else and I refer to them by their first name. I always say auntie so and so or uncle so and so. You get? That's like normal for me. Or even at church, I refer to people in church by brother, sister, and it's also a sign of respect for me, because I don't go around calling people by their first names. It's not typical of us to do that in Nigeria. So I was pleasantly surprised when I came and I hear people do that. So that's number one. The second thing on my list is the way birthdays are celebrated here in Germany. Yes. So in Nigeria, whenever someone is having a party and you want to have like a party, yes, I'm not talking about family parties where you just have father, mother, and the children. But then if you're going to invite people, then you have to get ready, because it's going to be like a big one, you get? So if you send an invite to a family, you should expect everybody in that family to come, and probably neighbors or visitors. So if someone invites me for a party in Nigeria and then I have a visitor, that visitor will tag along. It's quite typical for us. So when you're having a party, you're expecting like 150 at the minimum, and then could be more. Yes, so if you're having parties in Nigeria, that it's a big one. So even if you're celebrating a 1-year-old, there's like, you have parents come there, so the party is just a lot of eating and dancing, and even the parents that are celebrating. So our celebrations are usually for the parents, so to say. So the parents feel like they have achieved something, or they're celebrating their children, but the party is more for them than it is for the child. But here in Germany, it's for the child. The child gets a very special birthday present, usually something quite expensive, that they can tell their friends, oh, I got this. And then they might have their friends come over for a house party, or go somewhere to celebrate in the pool, or go watch a movie, or do something special, you know. And then they can invite their own friends. So if you say, I'm inviting 5 people for this party, you have 5 of your friends come, but definitely not the siblings of your friends. Unlike with us, if you invite a child for a party and he has siblings, it's expected that he will tag along with his siblings. He will even tag along with cousins as long as they're visiting. It's quite typical in Nigeria, but definitely not here. If you're a sibling, nobody expects you to. In fact, if you are a friend who has a sibling, sometimes they might not invite you. You get, because some parents actually go out of their way to do that. I've had Asians, you know, David had a party where his friend is Asian, and then the parents actually sent the younger one with them. I didn't have a problem with that. In fact, for my parties, I always welcome even parents. So when we had Hannah's first birthday here, we invited David's friends, we invited Ruth's friends, we had my own friends and people we had met at the school, because a lot of people liked Hannah and a lot of David's friends, and you know, so it was a full house. I'll insert a picture here if I find one. But subsequently we have learned and we've adjusted. So if you see our birthdays, you see if Ruth is having a birthday party, then she has only her friends, and if David is having his, he'd have same. So that is how that has affected me, and I've had to adjust as well. So yes, that's my second point. Culture shock I've had since I've been here is the fact that children don't share their toys or food. You know, it's very typical in Nigeria. You hear parents say, give it to him to play with. If someone tries to play with your toy, your parents will say, give it to him to play with, or share your food, share your bread. It's quite typical, but not here in Germany. At the playground, I see a lot of parents say, if your child don't want to share a toy, no parent says you have to share the toy. And I understand the point where that's coming from. In a sense, I endorse it, because you're teaching children to accept their own stuff, like their body is theirs and nobody should force you to do whatever you don't want to do. But then in my culture, I would embrace my culture more, because it teaches you to be able to share, and sharing is caring. I mean, so if you teach a child to share from a young age, then they grow up to be more accommodating, to be more considerate of other people who are in need. So for me, I'm not going to accept that fully, but I'm going to, you know, try to balance it for my kids, so they know that if there are times where you say no, and if it's not taking anything from you, why not share? You know, that's what I teach my children. About sharing food, not only children, in fact, I've experienced something where with adults, it's not commonplace to have people share food or give food to people. Like if you visit Germans, okay, coffee and tea is something they'll typically offer to you, but you know, if you visit an African, they'll give you food. If they know you're coming, especially, they would prepare food and water, you know, everything, drinks and all of that. So something came to mind right now. There was a time where I had like a business deal with a German and this African friend of mine. So we're supposed to go register my African friend, and then I go in with this German lady. And immediately I got in, my Nigerian friend just said, oh, she has food, she had cooked. And I walked straight into the kitchen and took a plate and I dished food for myself. And I think I must have taken a frizzy drink or maybe a malt drink from the fridge. And this German lady had her jaws dropped, like her mouth was like this. She went red. In fact, she was like, why do you walk into somebody's kitchen? I just started laughing, because I understood. Anytime we had visited her, the best she'd give us is water, and which is quite typical of them. And this is no way bashing you guys, but it's your culture and it's just the way we would treat visitors. So I go and I dish food for myself and I sit down and I eat. So we started telling her that it's quite typical for us to, you know, relate with each other like that. It's very okay. You would always find food in an African home. I mean, not just water. you find food and drinks, and it's quite normal for us to welcome our visitors like that. But it's not the case here. On my list would be Gleichberechtigung, you know, coming from Nigeria, where it's a patriarchal system and men are like king, they're the ones who go out to work. But here you have women working just as the men are working, so everything is shared equally, even like responsibilities at home. So that's what the law prescribes. I'm not sure if everybody upholds that, but that is what the law prescribes. So the first time I came in contact with, you know, what I'm trying to explain is at a playground, I see men come out with their children to play. Sometimes not just one kid. If they have 3, then the man comes out and plays with them. But you wouldn't find that in an African setting. You always find the mother going out with the children. So when I saw that, I was a bit taken aback. Like, some men are actually at home while the women work for the family. So one person might be doing something and the other one is there taking care of the children. So seeing the men at the playground was a bit quite surprising for me, but I've adjusted. It's quite typical to see men even push the prams and bring the children to the kindergarten, or men are more involved, you know, with, or go to parent meeting and you see that men are also there. So I think in Nigeria it's something that is evolving, has evolved over time. I, for one, growing up, my father was very involved, but it's not generally the case in Nigeria. But my father was involved, especially with like school things and all of that. He was fully involved. So yeah, so I think I saved the best for the last. So the last one will be nudity. So there's something called FKK here in Germany, which is Freikörperkultur. It's people who believe in nudity, who'd rather feel free being nude. They feel like there's nothing wrong in being nude. So you find them a lot at beaches or even in swimming pools. So I had perfected my swimming here in Germany. I learned to swim here, and I signed up for a course for women. So we had like a swimming camp, and I had my kids come as well. You know, for women, you can come with your children, so it's specially organized for women and children. Actually, I know I was there, and we went to the pool. You know, you have the dressing room for ladies and for men, and some men are there with their children. So if their children are girls, and they'll send them to the ladies' room. So if they come to check, you know, I've had men come into the ladies' room to check if their children are ready, and maybe they're wearing like pants and we're still changing. It's quite normal to even have men come in, and for the life of me, I couldn't understand. Like, even, you know, in Nigeria, not like people don't go to swim, probably not married women, a few would, but it's not commonplace. And then you'd have younger girls go to swim. It's quite typical, but once you're not in water, you'd have your towel around you. Like, that's what it's common. It's commonplace to see, but not in Germany. Everybody just feels free and goes about. And well, my very first experience was the same year we had come. In fact, maybe just a month apart. We had gone for a carnival in Berlin. If you know Berlin, you know that Berlin it's very multiracial. Like, you have a lot of races being represented. So it was like a carnival for different races. And then I go there, we see a lot of people. Like, it was summer, I understand. Most men were wearing just panties. Like, they were almost half naked, not boxers. I was like, really? Is this where I'm going to be raising my kids? So, you know, during summer, you see people really go almost unclad. It's quite typical, but definitely not in Nigeria. So these are the things that I have seen that have made me raise an eyelid and like, okay. Yeah, so those are like my aha moments. And yeah, I've adjusted to some things like I've mentioned, but some other things are really hard for me. And I'm sure there's going to be a part 2 of this video, or several parts of this video. As they unfold, I bring them again. And so yes, thank you for staying through this video. Like I always say, you know the drill. Give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. Give me your opinions, and I will be there to respond to your questions, and I will be there to answer as well. So thank you for always coming through for me. If you're a new subscriber, you want to consider subscribing right here and hit the notification bell so you stay updated whenever I upload a new content. Like I always say, it works if you work it. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.